So this is a follow-up from our my presentation that we gave to you guys about a month ago now. Took us a little bit of time to find the funding and to really work through the details through the NRCS so that we knew exactly what we were going to be facing on it. So again, a little bit of background, just to rehash real quick. The NRCS, as a result of the July 4th flooding, has activated an Emergency Watershed Protection Program, an EWP program. Again, that catalyst of the July 4th flood. At that meeting that we had on August the 5th, council authorized us to participate in that actual program. We needed that authorization so we could submit the letter of interest to the NRCS. They've received that. They've acknowledged that. They're going through their due diligence right now. And then you also directed us to find some money for the matching portion of this. If you all remember, this program is a 75-25% match or split with the NRCS, where the city's on the hook for 25% of the cost of that buyout program.
That should be 20%.
25%.
It is 25.
It is 25, yes, sir. Most grants are 80-20. This one is a 75-25
I
split.
had it in my notes for 20, so sorry about that.
No penalty, no penalty. So let me ask you this, Patrick. Are the properties approved already designated for this?
No, they have not been. So we've identified candidacy properties. We've turned that list over to the NRCS, and they're doing their due diligence on those properties right now. That is not a finalized list, but the list extends beyond the amount of money that we're advocating for today. So let us work through that. Again, since this is a completely voluntary program, I don't know how many of those property owners that are on the list are going to be willing to engage with us in this process. So we have a list of, there's 75 properties that are actually touching the floodway. We use that floodway.
Are commercial properties included in that?
Commercial properties are included in that, yes, sir.
Okay.
Very few of them, but the majority of them are residential properties because they have the biggest impact, and most of those, there's obviously just more of those that are in the floodway than commercial.
And I apologize, that was the morning of the convocation, I was not here. My second question is, does the future designation of the property, is it restricted for what the property can be after we buy it out?
Absolutely. It is restricted in perpetuity. It cannot have anything built on it. It cannot be sold. It cannot be developed in any way that impacts the flood waters that would touch that property. That's not to say that we can't do something with it, like nature trails or something to that extent, but as far as putting structures on the property, the properties will be specifically prohibited from that. That'll be in the actual title work whenever it transfers to the city's ownership.
So that is a non-negotiable. So let's take, if there's a house somewhere that was on there that somebody falls into this program and it's surrounded by a lot of acreage, nobody could come in and improve that to make it, I'd say, compatible and us able to change it. Is that titled and restricted like a PD that we can't?
If there's a house on the property that we purchased through this program, we have to remove that structure.
I'm with you, but I'm saying in 15 years, if somebody comes back and they figure out a way with technology and ways to make that property safe to go and put property back, is that restricted? I see Vinoy sneaking towards the front.
Legally, on the title work, it's going to say yes. Now,
Yeah, I think
things
the
change
deed
all the
will
time,
probably
but-
have restrictions in the deed, so the title work's gonna, show that, and unless those restrictions
And
are
that's good.
somehow
I mean, that's a good
released,
safety factor, but I'm just saying, beyond our council, beyond our terms, there may be other people that want to come in and say, I know the house on Short Street, that was Lake Short. I mean, that's a lot of acreage there that eventually can turn into something else. I would hate for it to just be restricted by one house.
part of this program is on those larger lots, we don't have to take the entire lot. We can split that lot, right?
Perfect.
So, and some of those I do have them listed as full or partial on the list. Some of those properties, we only need the back half of it. The front half is fully developable still. It doesn't make sense for us to have that and restrict that entire property. I don't want to maintain the entire property if I don't have to.
Amen.
So I only want to maintain what I need to protect the floodway.
Gotcha. You agree with that, Aaron? You
Yes,
walked
sir.
up, I want to make it worth your trip.
Yes, Aaron Vanoy, Director of Planning Development Services. We've identified this as kind of a step 2 process. There's step 1, hopefully obtaining properties, and then going through a zoning process after our comp plan comes through of saying, all right, those properties really don't need to be redeveloped, and having an overlay that says, okay, those can't be developed in perpetuity. That also is just a second layer of protection. Obviously, there are properties that may still up being private owned, not city owned, and so we'll have to take that into consideration when we go through with that process. But that's them getting through this process first. How many can the city obtain that helps out the entire city? And then the second is going through a zoning process.
Cool. Well, sometimes you have those long-term, we need to look longer than what we have here, and we don't want to handcuff ourselves with something, a decision made in 2025 that might affect 35 or 40. With that, I'll open it up for questions. Mary?
Yes, Patrick, at the previous meeting, council meeting, you were saying that that amount for those homes for us to purchase those was at 12 million is what you'd estimated. Now, 25% of that is 3 million, not 1.8 million.
Correct.
So refresh my memory as to the difference in the numbers.
So working with finance, this is what we were able to identify today as money that could be allocated to this program if council wishes to allocate that. I fully expect us to keep looking at that budget, keep looking at those numbers, and try to find that additional 1.2 to go there to get to that 25% cost share. There's also some things that we can do through this program that are non-monetary that would accommodate our match. So it's going to be a game that a coordination, I don't want to call it a
It'll be
game, a
fluid.
coordination
Yeah.
to get there. But this 1.8 will give us a great leap forward to get those initial conversations started with those property owners that are interested in the program.
Are there any grants available that could help us on that 25%, help the city?
It cannot be leveraged with other federal money. Excuse me. There is some options, and we're looking into that. Right now, the NRCS, this is the first time this local branch has implemented this program as well. So we're kind of walking through it together as we can. We do have a resource that is working out of Washington that's been in this program, and she's been just a super amazing resource for us as far as information is concerned, but we're getting all those questions answered. The answer is maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Has anyone in the Kerrville area, are there any other entities, like Kerrville, other towns that are looking at this as well? And if so, what's the feedback been on those, if you know?
I don't know so much from the Kerrville area. I know that the county is participating as well in this program. So they're looking at a few properties, not exactly to the magnitude that we are, because just our density is much more than theirs are. They're dealing with larger tracts. But the county I'm assuming this is a program that is activated statewide, so I'm sure we are not the only entities that's going in there. Again, there's an approval process, so once we identify the total amount of value that we need for the program, that's when there's an approval process that has to go through the Fed. They approve it, they allocate the money, and then we move through it. So if I'm looking on a horizon, we're probably not starting conversations with property owners on buyout until the first of the year.
Oh, okay. That's good. Have we looked at, and I'm sure you will, I'm not trying to needle you, with Tom Green County working with this as well, is there any chance for like a force multiplier or anything with the county that we could, help each other and piggyback and not us take the full brunt of it, that 3 million?
No, all the 3 million are within the city limits.
Okay.
And so, that line really designates where they can spend their money and where we need to spend our money. So unfortunately, that 12 million is on us to accommodate as far as the city's concerned.
Now, if we have some homes in there and those homeowners wish to not participate in this, I don't know if I dreamed this or what, but are they going to be able to get permits to rebuild or just a real heavy update? Or are they just shot in the foot, not being able to do anything?
It really depends on the specific location on their lot that they want to do something in. In a lot of cases, a part of their lot is in the floodway, part of it's in the floodplain. There's some accommodation that you can have in the floodplain that you do not get in the floodway. So placement of structures, placement of homes, but even then, sometimes that cost of what you would have to do, raise elevation, et cetera, is, is cost prohibitive to do anything.
So this is there's no cookie cutter
There's not.
with any of this.
There's not. It is going to be a specific property by property allocation, property by property project.
Okay. Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Karen, any questions?
No, sir.
Patrick?
Hello. Just a couple simple ones. No, I will, kind of along with what she was saying, I want to make sure, especially with Aaron on that, and make sure everybody's very clear that they don't have to sell, but if they don't, then they cannot build, at least on that property. I want to make sure all that is very clear to them so that they don't think they're fleeced.
Right.
And especially in some of those areas, we're going to have language barriers as well, so let's make sure we get people to be able to go in and talk to them and
Once we get closer to that time when we get to start talking to individuals, we'll do a marketing campaign over that. I don't want to put a whole lot of information out right now and get a whole bunch of people,
Right.
Excited about it and then say, well, in 4 months we'll do something. I would rather wait till it's, right there and then we can start moving with those conversations as they're fresh. But absolutely, that's part of that marketing that we're planning on doing, is kind of getting so that they have the full breadth of information so that they can make a decision what they want to do with their private property.
And then on that too, we've still got organizations and funds coming in privately, not city at all, that we don't want those to go spin on a home, start to build it, and then figure out, they can't, the city's going to buy it back. So that's part of that. If we'll just make sure we coordinate with them
Right.
on those properties. And then on our paper here, it says it's 80-20. So is it 80-20 or is it 75-25?
It's 75-25.
Okay. And is that math right? Like I said, I'm just looking at the paper here. and
The
it's got
background does say
7.2,
20%. It should not. It should say 25%.
That'll be 1.8 for the city, and then that's 6.4 for
It gets-
NRCS.
So, no, let's go to the next slide. I think I've got a breakdown of it. I don't. So basically, 1.8 for the city gets a 7.2 of NRCS money for a total of about $9 million in properties that we can go seek.
Yeah, that's 25%. All right. And then also, it's more just point of clarification, because a lot of misinformation got spread after the last meeting where we talked about this. This is not eminent domain. This is none of that. It is a completely voluntary program, and it is us trying to help those that are not going to be able to rebuild that are in the floodways.
It's an option that they can take, that they can enact if they so choose to.
Yeah.
This is not a taking. We cannot force the hand in any way, shape, form, or fashion. It's strictly voluntary. They must sign a paper that opts into the program, which starts the discussion with that property owner on a buyout option.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Patrick, you're asking like this is in your district or something or another. Any comments, Harry?
I'm good.
Mr. Self?
Is this going to require a lot more work on y'all's part?
We figured
you
we
gonna
could
be
do
able
this
to-
while we were asleep.
Yeah.
No, it absolutely will. This is not part of our, what I would call our core service, that we provide, but this is absolutely something that we need to do. So we're going to figure it out. It is going to take some more work on real estate. It is going to take some more work on our department. We're going to feel out that, that burden, work with Brandon, since he oversees the real estate side of it, to see if we need to potentially hire some temp work to assist or contract some of that out. But there's likely going to be an expense to help accommodate staff, just because we want this thing to move through quick. Even once we start the process, we do have a finite amount of time to actually get everything done from the time that from the word go. So we don't have the luxury of dragging our feet, nor do we want to. We need some finalization for these property owners.
And that leads to my next question. Is there a time limit on when they can do this and when we can help them?
So once we start the process and we enter into an agreement with them, we have 220 days to fully negotiate it, fully vet it, and remediate it. So
That's
within 220 days, they will receive their payment.
Within the NRCS or the homeowner or the property owner?
That's the property owner.
Okay.
We have, full remediation, remove all structures, recondition it, the property, everything is 220 days. So we can't do any of that work till we actually own the property. So it's going to move fast.
Is there a time limit with the NRCS for the applicants to do this program?
I don't know. Once we turned in our letter, the NRCS has 60 days from the time that they receive that letter to do their due diligence on the properties that we've turned in.
And that's
Once
where we're
they
at now.
approve that property, that's the check mark that that property's approved for conversation. So after that, short of any environmental remediation or anything that comes up in our due diligence after that, it's ready to go.
Okay.
Hebert? Good. So as we move forward with this, and I appreciate Patrick's passion in this, but number one, this all started with a call from Carly Stevens at NRCS. Reached out the third day into the disaster and was, hey, come meet with me, let's talk about the program, got them in touch with y'all on the fourth day, and you moved it forward very fast. I appreciate that. But it's my understanding, once they agreed to participate, they're done with the property. The owner will be in and out. And a lot of those values are going to be based upon the 2025 appraisals, correctly?
Pre-flood.
Not the, pre-flood values.
Pre-flood
I need people to
values.
understand that. And that was a big question, but with that, I'll look for, has anybody got any further questions? I have a first from Patrick and a second from Karen Hesse Smith. Any public comment? With no public comment, we'll take a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item D passes.